What is up, responsible day traders? Today is Sunday, January 8th, 2023. I am Lindsay Duff, and this is Responsible Day Trading. So we're here, guys. It's 2023. I hope everybody's had a wonderful vacation, had some great time. The market has been a little crazy. It's definitely been stuck between two areas. I just recorded 30 minutes of covering it for you, and I forgot to hit record. So here we are again. One of the things that I want to talk about is that when we're stuck between these areas like we have to kind of take in our vision just a little bit. We have to bring it in, and we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about the different ways that we can maybe rearrange our charts to see something a little bit more instant, because those bars were so big on some of those bigger tick charts, just stuck between those areas. Things were moving very, very slow. So a lot of times just kind of bringing it in a little can really, really help that. And we're going to talk about that just a little bit and how to look at that. But first, we're going to look at the market. All right, so we're going to head over to responsible day trading, and then we're going to go to news. We're going to go to market news. Here, we're going to talk a little bit about what we got going on. So we don't have any news on Monday. Tuesday, 30 minutes before the market opens, Powell's going to speak. And then 11 a.m., we've got some other high impact news. Guys, we pay attention to this high impact news because we want to make sure that if we're trading during that time, we know what's going on. It doesn't mean that we have to stop trading. It just means to be aware. So Wednesday, an hour after market opens, crude oil inventories. Thursday, we've got some things that's all pre-market. So it's about an hour before the market opens. So if you're a pre-market person, make sure you're paying attention to that. We don't have anything on Friday, which is amazing. So that's always interesting to see how that's going to go. Now, let's go ahead and check out this market. Let's start off with that daily chart. When we're looking at this daily chart, guys, we were stuck between these two areas, right here at the high and right here at the low. And I'll be honest with you, I really thought that this was going to push down and continue down and move down towards this area. But that's why I don't trade the daily chart. I trade what's in between, because sometimes that can influence you in such a way that you make decisions based off what you think should happen in the longer run instead of paying attention to what's happening right now. But what we see here right now are these MACDs are actually pushing up with a little bit of strength to the upside. It'll be really, really interesting to see if we break through this top Bollinger Band and maybe pull something a little bit like this. I'd kind of expect it to pull back and at least come off of that bottom Bollinger Band again. But man, if it just starts to push up and pick up to the upside, we may see it do something more along the lines of pulling back like it does here. But this may be something that pushes up a little higher. You know, what we see is we're getting closer and closer to this area of resistance in order to possibly pull back up above it and start moving to the upside. I'd actually be extremely excited to see that happen. But, we've still got some space to run up to that next area of resistance, or even up towards here if it's going to. But we'd really, really need to see these BBs break through that top Bollinger Band and show us reasons to break through the zero line in order to really be on board with that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and pull up the 28,657 right here. Okay, I am in love with the way this looks right now. So we had this area of resistance right here that was our high area of resistance. We really, really struggled to make a new low. We really, really struggled to make a new high until right here. Now the BBs pulled back, didn't break inside, pushed up. We still got white BBs. I'd really be expecting to see at least some sort of divergence before this comes back down. This BB here has rolled off of that bottom Bollinger Band. It looks like it should be pushing up at this time, even though that's still purple. I mean, this is our first bar of the day. We're only we've still got 19,000 ticks left of this first bar of the day. So it'll be interesting to watch how that BB reacts, but I'd really be expecting to see it push up at the very, very least, give us some divergence up towards this Bollinger Band, maybe roll off of it and come down. But either way, we've got some room to run. So it's pretty awesome. If we come back towards these EMAs that are nice and strong to the upside, It's been a while since we've seen strong EMAs to the upside. Nothing here, nothing here. This is definitely showing strength to the upside. This is the first time we saw strength to the upside, or this was the last time we saw strength to the upside in the MACDs. And before that was back in here where it was struggling just a little bit to get up there. But that is some pretty decent opening right now. Now, if this pulls all the way back, of course, they're going to start squeezing together a little bit more, become weaker. But I'm telling you what, I feel the long game coming on. I guess we'll have to see. I'm not going to get my mind set into that. I'm going to pay attention to what it tells me. So let's look at these charts really, really quick before we talk some about how we could maybe move our charts around and get a different perspective that can help us out when we have these things like these really, really long bars on things like the 10-9-46 that become really, really hard to navigate through. So, a way to handle that is to possibly move down to charts that are just a little bit easier to read in that situation and take opportunities with. But we'll come to that in just a minute. First, let's talk about what's happening on the 10-9-46. This MACD BB is pushing up nice and strong to the upside. We do have, some potential for divergence coming about. This BB hasn't moved very far. I would at the very least expect some divergence to happen up somewhere up in here before we do see a pushback to the downside. Here on the 10-9-46, nice strong EMAs to the upside. Love it. When this pulled back right in here, well, first, when it reached right there, it didn't cross that top Bollinger Band, okay? Told us it was going to pull back. We'd stayed outside, pushed up. This time, struggled to cross that top Bollinger Band. Told us that we were going to see this push down. It came back down, reached that previous pivot, rolled inside and moved to the upside. Now, it gave us the white MACDs because we had such a strong move to the upside and with the expectations to pull back. Well, it did. And, we had some expectations through here showing us that this should pull back with these MACDs leading so much lower. And that's exactly what happened. Pulled back, got these little tiny bars, this reversal bar here, or kind of a reversal bar, and the BB pushing up. So this is actually kind of exciting to see right now. It really does have a look if this can continue to the upside, especially when I'm looking at what's happened right here. We rolled and pushed out. Now, I don't want to get too excited because this is just the opening of the day. And we know that what happens at the opening of the day could be a little bit different from what we see in the rest of the day, right? Or the previous night's opening, right? Things move a lot slower. It takes a lot more time for things to happen. We may see this pull back in a little bit deeper right into here if it's going to push back up. So we just want to pay attention, right? Even the 233 in the beginning was giving a nice little push back to the upside here. We didn't cross the top Bollinger Band here. It is pulling back down, but we're going to see those BBs pull back down if this is going to come back into this area and push up some more. So I have to say my mind is a little bit on the longs. I guess tomorrow will tell me whether I'm right or wrong, but currently my mind is definitely on what the longs have to offer. And here's something else I want to talk about. Like, we just have so much space to run. And let me actually pull up that 28,657 again so we can look at this. Either way this goes, we've got some space to run. If it comes back down towards these EMAs and finally this is the last final straw and it's going to break through and come back down here, we got a lot of room to run. We even have a lot of room to run back to these EMAs. We've got quite a bit of distance to run back into here and give us a lot of opportunity for play. Now, if this is going to be the one that finally, since we finally broken back above this area, not by much, okay? We're not like way up there, but pulled back in and pushing up, this would be great to see just finally some movements and pullbacks to give us so much open air and space to run back up towards this area around that 4120 or something like that, that may give us finally movement to the upside. I know Jason's been counting on it for a little while, but didn't quite follow through at that time. I mean, Hey, we're not mind readers. We're not fortune tellers. We're just looking at what the immediate opportunity is giving us and finding ways to work with that. Speaking of finding ways to work with that, what we're going to do right now is we're going to pull over something like the 4181 and we're going to pull the 610 over here, right? And we're going to talk about a couple of different things. Whenever we have movements like what we've seen back in here, and these bars get so long and they're really, really hard to understand and to navigate through, we may want to use things like a little bit smaller tick charts than what we had back here, because this really is difficult to, I don't want to say trust. It's just the bars are so long and it's moving so slow. So we speed up the process just a little bit when we pull over something like the 4181 and we look at something like the 610. Okay, it gives us a little bit more opportunities. Now, if we're going to pull it in a little bit, this may still be too big. Okay, this may still be too big to read when it comes down to something like this and say, oh, man, do I trust it? So what the other option is to do something more along the lines of pulling the 1597 out of the main vision, moving the 610 over into our main trading chart, and then looking at what the 233 has in opportunities with that as well. This is going to take me a second to find, so we'll meet back here in a moment. All right, so now when we take this down just a little bit, and I want to look at the 4181 with that in just a moment, but we'll look at it in a second. You may find some opportunities and some moves to the upside that happen in here. So whenever it pulls back right in here, the 610 gives great movement to the upside. The 233, great movement to the upside. We may not have seen those opportunities if we're looking at it with a bigger tick chart. It may just be scarier and more of a struggle to take that trade when we're looking at something like the 4181, or even if we're looking at something like the 10946. If we pull that up, I mean, that just looks way scary to take that move to the upside. You're telling yourself, man, is this going to pull back deeper right now? So you just take it in a little bit and you say, okay, if these movements are so small, then what can I do to take the opportunity? And you have to look at things like, okay, so now my 1597, which used to be my trading chart, it isn't irrelevant anymore, but it's a little harder to use as our trading chart when it's moving so slow. So we bring it in just a little bit and we look at what opportunities, maybe between using the 610 as our trading chart and using the 233 as our entry chart still, right? And so having this flexibility and this opportunity to do that kind of thing is one of the things that we do here in order to flow with the market. That may mean that I get out a little quicker. I'm not going to take 5-point targets every time. So I'm going to move my risk in, and it will give me the opportunity to take a quicker trade and to have my risk in a little bit smaller than if I was looking at this much bigger tick chart as my trading chart. So, using things and like having the 1597, 610, 233, those three just kind of flowing together is really, really helpful in that we can make smarter, quicker decisions. So, that is one thing that we have to always be prepared for. We have to be prepared for change, okay? So we can't just expect to go into this and every time everything work out. We have to be flexible. We have to be adjusting. Whenever the market is moving differently, we have to move differently. So being able to lower the tick chart, but still keep a flow between the charts, because that's one of the important things. You don't want to just pull random numbers out of the sky. And if you need some help with talking about those numbers, I know they seem like random numbers, but they're Fibonacci numbers. There's a sequence to them. They makes them flow and connect together with the EMAs. So having those whenever the opportunities start to slow down. And during this market, it has slowed down. We knew it was going to happen. It was the holidays. Everybody's going on vacation. People are with their families. People are closing out longer term trades. So it just happens like that every year around this time. You just have to be prepared for it. And if you're going to trade it, you need to know what to do. If you're trading some sort of program that doesn't allow you to make those adjustments with the market, then you may need to reconsider either trading during that time or your process, right? You may want to think about what you're using for your process and say, okay, is this flexible? Does it allow me to change with the market? Because one of the things that we really want to do here is teach you to flow with the market. And that means being able to pay attention to the fluctuations and what's happening and knowing what to do when it's moving really fast and knowing what to do when it's moving really slow. So, yeah. All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up. We do have a lot of things ahead for us, for you profit trader and for responsible day trading. So excited about the whole process. I'm really, really looking forward to working with you. I'm looking forward to helping you flow with the market. And as always, you know that I look forward to catching you on the profitable side.